There we go. Hey. Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome to the stream or the YouTube video, wherever it is that you happen to be. My name's Ren, and today we are, as you might notice, judging my little side panel here, discussing chapters 11 and 12 of Juliet Marillier's, again, pronunciation, book, Son of the Shadows. That is the second part of the Seven Waters six-part series. The second part of the first trilogy, however you want to say it. So there's that. Hello, bunny friend. Yes. The ears have made an appearance. I don't remember if they ever made an appearance back in spring, but I'm cleaning stuff and found them, and they're look how fuzzy they are. Oh my god. They're so fuzzy. But yeah, for the uploads, like, I thought that Daughter of the Forest was already up, and it was on YouTube, but it wasn't visible and it hadn't been edited properly. So that's being posted, I want to say tomorrow. And then after that, we're up to Son of the Shadows for things to actually post to the YouTubes. So, for the first time since doing the book club, everything is actually, like, ready to go and stuff. I think this is the first time we've seen them. Alright, then we must have missed, what was supposed to be their debut back in, like, April. Yeah. And I'm in the middle of scripting the first plants and pop culture video, and my aim is to finish that and film it and do the editing and stuff by tomorrow so that it can post on Saturday. Because I'm going to try and do those at least bi-weekly on Saturdays. So, putting that out there so that it's a thing and all that. Okay. Random side tangent here. Because, like, I've been making a lot of little tiny bat guys. Like little tiny bat dudes, right? And ended up with one that was, like, it was a brown body and, like, the bright green, like, wings and ears and stuff. So let's leave that. Yeah. My weekly videos on Saturdays, you say? Oh, where they go. Indeed. So we'll see how that works. But I figure, like, at least at present, I have Fridays off. So, yeah. I want to do, I want to revive the podcast and stuff, and maybe do those on Friday. But we'll see. We shall see. And yeah. But for right now, at least, I'm gonna try and do like one thing a week and then expand it from there. Because otherwise, I know myself enough that I'm gonna try and commit to like 4 things and then fail at all of them. So, yeah. Do not do too much at once. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Because oh, but it's easy. You can totally do that. Part of my brain comes in. It's like we're gonna die now. Must avoid the overcommitting. Exactly. Little leaf ears. Ah. Anyway. Okay. So, also, stream brought to you by not Crush. It's tea that's in there. But yeah, stream brought to you by like random green tea in a not affiliated bottle. Oh man. All right. And we're going. Where's the thing? So, before we start going, and it looks like the audio's fine, but like y'all can hear me just fine. There's no weird crackly noises and all that. Yeah. Have a chance to try the tea we sent you yet? Okay, I'm gonna be honest. It ended up in the category of my brain space of like, this is really cool. I need to put it somewhere so I don't lose it, and then forgot it was in the cupboard. So I will try that in the next few days and get back to you. Because now that I remember that it exists, yeah, that's because it looks really cool. Wow. Okay. Cool and good just kind of morphed into one word. So apparently, ghoul is a positive now. So there's that. I mean, it's seasonally apt, I guess. So to make of that what you will. Yeah, right. It's like, haha. the fun time of like, yes, this is an important thing that you must not forget. So therefore, you put it somewhere that you'll definitely forget it. Because reasons. This is precious and I must put it in a safe place and probably forget safe place's location. Exactly. Exactly. Like, I don't need to bury stuff in the middle of a forest so that, like, regardless of if someone's messing with my head or whatever, like, I can't tell where it is. No, I just need to, like, hide it from myself for a week, and then I'll forget that it's literally, like, under my bed or something. That's it. Yeah. Our survival rate as squirrels went up. Seriously though, like I see the little dudes like hiding stuff in our planters all the time, and it's like, okay, little squirrel friend there. I hate to break it to you, but that particular one isn't gonna have that plant by the time you come back. But also, how do you even remember where you put your stuff? Like, at all? Ah, seriously. Okay. But yeah. So, anyway, before we kind of dive into the chapters and what's it, anyone have like particular observations you want to share with the class, or just let's go into the shenanigans? Yeah, because like it's interesting because I know exactly where it is because the audio kept going for a minute or so. So the the scene out of the entire series, right? The scene that I remember the most from the original read through is in the first 5 minutes of chapter 13. I'm not gonna say what it is right here, like just for purposes of um not being full spoilery and all that, but like yeah. Somehow like that plus like everything else was like, oh yeah, this is a great story, yeah. Exactly. We confess we had trouble picking up the book this week. That's fair. That's fair. I put the audio on like what? It must have been this morning when I was trying to edit some photos and stuff. So like, that's fine. Um, yeah. Since when do we not spoil things on this channel? I mean, you have a point. Yeah. You have a point there. Basically, like, okay. Uh, there's a scene, um, where, what's his name? When does that happen? Was that the last thing that we were talking about last week? Yeah, okay. So, by this point, Serica and Q know that Johnny is their grandkid's dad. But he is still not privy to that information. And, like, honestly, that whole scene, though, is still kind of hilarious to me. Of like, yes, I can, I can tell exactly based on how the kid was born who their parent is, because obviously that's how that works. What? Uh, um, but yeah. So, there's a scene in like at the start of 13. Is it the scene with the druidic initiation? Honestly, I don't remember that as a thing at all. Um, there, for some reason, the scene that I most remember out of the entire series is like Bran shows up again, or Johnny the Elder, I suppose, shows up again in Seven Waters, and uh, Leiden is sitting there, and the kid's off, like playing with rocks or something for a little bit, and they're having a chat, and he's getting like he wants her to go with him or something. To be fair, there was also the physical resemblance mentioned. Well, yeah, but like there's for that there's the expectation that like the kid who you left back home in England is presumably still, there. Not just like randomly in Ireland now because reasons. Um but uh yeah. So there's a scene um where Leiden and Johnny Bran, whatever he's going by, are interacting, and then there's a kid, like there's an audible like kid noise. I don't remember if it's like a shriek or something, and he's getting all bent out of shape. It's like, oh well, obviously you're now married to this guy, so like I can't talk to you anymore. Like, dude, he's your kid. No, no, that's not possible. We were only together that one time. Like, dude, I'm not married to anyone. Like, this right here, this tiny human, is your kid. And then, from what I remember, like, runs off. Out of the entire thing, That is what I remember the most. Because healthy relationship dynamics and all that. Yeah. So great. This is really not working. Okay. Strange to remember. This is a strange bit to remember the most, right? Right? Like, yeah. I don't know. Not about that. Yeah. Uh, so, what's that? Yeah. That's it. Um, there's. Yeah. Ah! Okay. One second. We're doing a slight intermission to try and get this thing so it's not increasingly fully tangled around itself. Alright. There we go. Okay. But yeah, out of out of the whole thing, it's that. And then there's I think it's a scene from the next one where there's someone in a boat going somewhere. I want to say it's like uh the kid when he's like I don't know 15 or something um going to track down somebody. But yeah. Alright. That remember the most is when Connor put someone through a druid initiation without their prior knowledge or consent. It's pretty dramatic. Not sure if it's the split for the next one though. Yeah, no. Based on Connor's like history of dubious life choices. We'll go with that. Yeah. I'm not even surprised at this point. Because, like, dude has some issues with, like, logic and stuff. Like, seriously. Alright. So, 11 and 12, we've got, Sirica is, like, deathbed type ill. From the descriptions, it's pretty well confirmed that it's some kind of cancer. Just from the, like, she's in massive pain and the canker has grown. He's presented as so wise, but definitely has blind spots and believes his own press. Yeah, it's like he's got the potential to be like a really great leader and stuff, but that's kind of his downfall too, it seems. So yeah, I don't know. There's something that I've noticed with like the storylines where it's this person has been ordained by the gods to be amazing or whatever. Or like nature picked you out of all of your family members to do the thing. And it's just like, oh yes, nature has said therefore. And it's interesting because so far it's like it's Sirica and well, I would say it's just the women in the line, but Finbar Finbar and Serica from the previous generation, and to a degree Nave, but like not so much from this one. So we've got like so far in the canon, it's Serica, Finbar, and Leiden who have like questioned the why of doing things past just like regular teenage rebellion and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Which is interesting because we've got like the Lord and Lady of the Forest, like and manipulating the lives of the mortals that live in the forest, and it's always just like, oh yeah, well, of course you have to go along with what they say because they're the more knowledgeable beings of the place and all that. You have to do what they say because like they're awesome like that in all permutations of the word. Um and then you've got Layden over there who's just like, you want me to what now? Which, on the one hand, is kind of a cool trait, but then she's just sitting there being annoying about it half the time, and like, I want to root for you, but you're kind of being a drag. I don't know. I don't know about that. Uh, so, yeah. there's that. Yeah. Ow. What am I saying? What's this? Okay, so, want to root for you, but you're being kind of a drag something up. I'm glad that made sense. It's like, that's one of those times of, like, I'm talking and, like, does this make sense to anyone else, or is it just me and, like, nobody else? I'm glad that it computed. Compat? No, that can't be the past tense. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. Alright. So, 11 opens with everyone having a big sad because Sirika's dying and stuff. And like, Sean's off doing something, and they're trying to make sure that he gets back before Circa dies and all that. For the final goodbyes and everything. And everyone's just kind of hanging around. And, like, okay. For a lot of stories and whatever, it's like the parent dies and that spurns the character into some kind of, like, heroic character arc, or into, like, a new impetus of being or something. But what would that be in this? Because, like, she's there, like, on site. Okay, there it is. Has a kid and has decided to just kind of stick around and take care of the kid. Seems weird that Sean's away at the start of 11. It does. Like, everyone's trying to figure out where he went, and he's just like, well, I'm just here doing a thing. And he was off somewhere. And comes back with Eamon and I keep wanting to say Eilish, and that's not it. Whatever Eamon's sister's name is, that I can't remember. Yeah. So we've got that. And all I can figure is that Sean was away, like, just because I know now that having heard part of it, how 13 starts, all I can figure is that Sean was away, tracking down the mercenaries. But, like, he's just not there and people don't talk about it. It's just like, well, hopefully he shows up before Serica dies. Meanwhile. What? So, okay. There we go, I guess. Yeah. And, what? Well, dude. Uh, and okay, yeah. So, yeah. At the start of 11, Sirican and Red are told that Neve is still alive and was sent off with Bran, who's also like Aisling. Yeah, yeah. Okay, there we go. Sent off with Bran, who's also the head of the mercenaries, who's also like the kid's dad and all that. um, Unfortunately, I do not know what you're asking. Yeah. Alright. Okay. And, um, before going to see Serica, after, somewhere, yeah, it must be before a little bit. We've got Finbar and trying to kind of teach Lydon how to use her abilities. And she ends up seeing Gull and, to a degree, the other mercenaries kind of getting on Bran's case for, like, sending Lydon away. With oh well, if she was here, then this one dude who was, like, seriously injured would probably still be alive because we would have a medic. At which point, why? Okay, just logistically here, right? Just like the whole thing of, historically, a lot of people who are sailors couldn't swim. How? Just how? And why? You know? Y'all are part of a band of mercenaries, made up of people from literally the entire known world at this point. Known to, like, people of Europe, at least, right? How do none of you have medic training? Like, Gull knows particular herbs by scent alone, enough to ID them in a mixture. Because his mom used to use them in medical prep stuff, right? So how, in anything, is this band of like, 15, 20 dudes just there with the swords and the stabbies and the whatever else going into battle like all the freaking time, and none of them have any kind of like healing knowledge beyond, oh well, might want to get that to stop bleeding. Or like chuck some alcohol on it for disinfectant. And even at that, like, why? Come on, man. What? Y'all have been essentially on campaign for how long? How are any of you still alive? How? What? Yeah, why hasn't Go passed on some sort of first aid knowledge? Exactly. Like, of the lot of you, you're the only one who's trained as any kind of, like, medical expert of anything. Even if it's just like, hey, maybe you should take a bath sometimes. Like that, even just that. Like, hey, what? And you have the goal to be like, well, if Leiden was here, then maybe this one dude wouldn't have died. Like, dude! From your own admission, you have the knowledge to have done something. You ass. Come on. Ah! Come on, man. What are you doing? What? Take a bath sometimes? So unhealthy. Like, I mean, preferably not in the weird sewage water river, but, yeah. Ugh. God. What? We need to boil the water for something? What? Shocking. Like, dude. And honestly, that goes back to the the previous book too, with like Red and stuff. I get if he's like there's infection starting to set in with his leg in that first scene and stuff, and if you're tired and in pain and whatever, you're not entirely thinking clearly. Like, I get that. And they're like in a cave in the middle of a storm and stuff. But like, hey, yeah, I need your whiskey bottle or whatever it is. Huh? What? Why? To disinfect your leg, genius. Chuck it on your wound. Huh? What? Why? Like, dude, what? On the one hand, like, relatively pampered aristocracy, so, like, fine. You have a slight pass to be not the, best when it comes to self-preservation. Fine, whatever. But, like, he was the guy that kept going out in the middle of, like, the fields and stuff and helping to deliver farm animals and, like, actively working the land. That's the kind of stuff that you kind of need to know in order to not die from sepsis if you happen to get kicked by a critter that has hooves or something. You know? Like, that's a basic. And dude's over here like, what? What do you mean I need to disinfect it with brandy? But that's the stuff that you drink. That's not good. What? A lot of them. And I can't quite figure if it's one of those, like, magical, mystical women type characters. So therefore, like, the dudes have to be morons about certain things, or if it's, like, something else. But, yeah, there we go. Alright. Thank you for the stretch remind, Fonzie. Alright, one sec. Ow. There we go. Just checking, are we imposing our modern knowledge on them? That is a question. The certain elements of, like, the hygiene bit and all that, yeah, thank you for the stretch remind. For that's the thing though. For Europe, like, regular washing wasn't a thing, but for the entire Middle East and Africa, it was. Like, that's one of the reasons that, a lot of mentions in the Middle East of Europe is, like, talking about, like, the unclean infidels or what have you. From particular locations, not, like, universal. And the terminology is different depending on era and whatnot. But, like, the unclean what have you, because, like, in certain situations, like, they just literally wouldn't wash for, like, months. Aside from, like, the occasional bath sometimes, or, like a basin with some water in it that you could, wash your face and certain other bits and whatever. But, yeah, like, if it's written into the story that Bran's guys are from literally everywhere, one of them should have been like, hey, in my culture, we do X, so that might be a thing to try. What do you think? But no, it's just like, hey, yeah, we're doing a thing because reasons. But why though? Reasons. And botanical knowledge was kind of like a widespread thing. Like, I'll give some leeway on that because, like, from the sounds of it and from what I remember, Bran, Johnny, whatever he's going by at any particular point, doesn't have that background. So, because that's generally something that was passed down, like, parent to child, or at least instructor to pupil. And from what I remember of the story, he went from having Marjorie as a parent to essentially being orphaned, from what I remember, and then got picked up by some dude, and in that sequence of events didn't have like that base knowledge passed on, which, like, alright, cool. But, like, dude, you're an adult now and in charge of a bunch of guys that keep getting stabbed all the time. So you might want to figure out which of the plants in the area that you happen to be in at any given point can maybe stop that. And this is the same point in history that we would have had, like, because it's the dawn of Christianity in the British Isles, kind of, or just after that. Because that was starting just before the last book, really. And so, what, 500-600, something like that. So, certain practices would have gone out of favor by that point, but the awareness would, in theory, still be there. One I'm thinking of right now is using spiderwebs as an emergency bandage sort of thing. But I don't know if I know that and can pull that one out, because that's part of what we were studying in my Latin classes, or what, and most of the Latin at the time that this is taking place was ecclesiastical. It wasn't like practical knowledge. So that, yeah, like, and also there's certain things that are historical that would have existed at the time that this is taking place, but might not have been known, or weren't, like, as widely accepted, or people just did the thing. But at present, there's no real documentation as to why exactly. So, yeah, there might well be some kind of, like, current bias being put onto the characters, but also it was written, like, what, 20 years ago? So, spiderwebs as adhesive dressing are also mentioned in Outlander. Okay, so, yeah, that would have been... Outlander's, what, like 1700s? And if it's still in practice at that point, then it would stand to reason that it's a possible use case, like, in this period, considering. But yeah, like, if you're part of a paramilitary type organization, whether it's using that moniker or otherwise, like, you need to just have at least basic, like, wound care info, right? Like, I'll give them a pass on not knowing, like, CPR or something, because that wasn't a thing at that point. It was still like, the four humors are not in right alignment, haha, instead of, like, you know, you had something with mercury in it, so you're poisoned now, or what have you, depending on where you were and what symptoms were around, or whatnot. I am surprised that I haven't seen anything in here yet about, like, ah, yes, the reason that this is a bad thing and the person involved is mortally injured is because demons. Because, like, that. But then again, what we've seen so far is the, like, pagan parts of Ireland. It's not, like, the Christianity rich parts of Ireland. And the only Christian characters that we've seen so far are Fionn, and he's like the resident abusive asshole. So yeah, there's that. Yeah. Yeah, with Outlander, honestly, like, I haven't read it, but I can kind of ID the time period mostly from, like, yeah, there's certain characters mentioned and stuff, like certain historical figures mentioned, but mostly it's like uh Scottish clothing sometimes has very particular, like, timelines associated with it. And there's that. Mostly it's the characters, though. I've been lurking. I haven't read this based on the time period. They were primitive like. The sense was kind of logical. Some know alcohol can disinfect, although I think it wasn't common knowledge in their modern knowledge. So they had other plants and could help with most things. Do you think they're imposing your modern knowledge? You know that some alcohol wasn't made as properly. Well, yeah, no, that definitely. And most alcohol was, like, it was fermented to kill off bacteria more than it was to, like, be alcohol, kind of. And there was some that was really strong and had been fermenting for a while. But they'd figured out that if the water was boiled, then people didn't get as sick from it as if it was just fresh from the river sometimes. Or there were certain particular rivers that were known to be, like, sweet, so therefore you could drink from it. But most of the time when water was boiled, either it was tea of some kind, or it was alcohol, because, like, the water was heated and then allowed to cool. And doing it that way, you have the nutrients and whatever from the base material that's used too. But like that, like I'll totally give a pass for. That's fine. And not knowing the intricacies of like modern or semi-modern healing practices and stuff. Yeah, totally. But there's a lot of instances where it's plants endemic to the region that one or more of the characters are from, and they seem to not know how to work with it. Which, in fairness, that's an issue that I have with people now, too. But at a time when that was the main, like, medical care, it's kind of thrown me off on that one, you know? And again, like, everyone, like, throughout history, people have had, like, specialized knowledge and stuff, so not everyone being fully aware of whatever it is, like, okay, cool. But the ones that, in theory, would have that awareness and knowledge, not using it when it would benefit them, seems odd. Would improperly made alcohol be infectious? Like, cause a yeast infection? Maybe. In many ways, there were snake oil sellers instead of, let's say, tribal knowledge of medicine that was for sure safe or safe enough. It can. Yeah, no, it could. Depending on what it is. And yeah, people, like, okay. I get what you're saying. With that. And yeah, to a degree, imposing like current knowledge, not the best. But yeah. And thought about that, good points. Yeah. And there's just like there's been specifically plant knowledge for millennia. Just like you're mentioning, you might know that a certain plant or a certain type of plant is good for a particular thing, but not have access to it or not know how to find it or where it grows or whatever. And if someone's like, hey, I've got that, yeah, no, it's fine, yeah, it's great. Either you end up with the thing, or you end up with something like hemlock or whatever, or it's just a bag of like dust, and the person's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. Just use that and mix it with this other stuff, and it'll be great. And it's literally just dirt or whatever. Also, in a lot of cultures during this time, didn't have a lot of literacy. Or not talking, speaking. Well, yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. A lot of it was oral tradition, though. And if you don't have someone sharing that oral tradition, that's when you get issues with the continuity breaking and stuff, which is something that we see in areas where there's been like mass casualties based on like I don't know a plague of some kind that's just fully wiped out um, entire swaths of the population before whatever knowledge can be passed on. Because in a lot of areas, the majority of, or sometimes all of the knowledge of a particular thing, or a particular, like, subset of things, is entirely oral tradition, or is at least, like, supported by oral tradition. And in this particular area and stuff, there's certain things that it's secret knowledge. So even though text formats were a thing, and even though like information was transcribed, there's a lot of mention where it's like uh, something's known, but it's secret to all but like very few in the population, and you get um, you get instances of like mention of there being a ritual or mention of there being sacred women's knowledge or something like that, but not what it is, because either it's blocked from being written down due to the nature of the material, or the person transcribing the data just fully doesn't know what the information is. So, yeah. And you get that a lot with like druidic info and stuff, because that's like, yeah, there's Ugam, but it's also an almost entirely oral tradition lineage. Yeah. Good points, though. Yeah. It is true that often what everyone knows is best practices, later generations figure out it's a bad idea. So maybe they're doing their best. None of the cloth holders seem to have medics or medical training for their forces either. Yeah. Which, okay, to a degree, I can. Like, it doesn't make any sense on that. Because, like, yeah, different, groups of, of people, different cultures have different, like, approaches to health and well being and all that. That's kind of an obvious, right? But at the same kind of in the same kind of time period, because this would have been what? How was it? A Serpent's Tail was like 1150, something like that, right? And this was Christianity would have been in Ireland for what, 100 years, maybe 150 years. So it's probably about 600-700. And what we were seeing in A Serpent's Tail is that um the medical school, essentially, in Italy had been established for several hundred years, from the sounds of it. And was pretty up on everything. And I can't remember her name right now, but the main character coming to Ireland, like, yeah, there's a, a distrust of what she's doing and all that, but like, and people were thinking that she was doing witchcraft and everything, which is fun. What's that? I want to say that was Ireland. It's long enough ago they can't remember the specs at this point. No, that was Southern England. Never mind. But like, it doesn't make sense to me that more so they found it actually worked and modernized it with later generations. Yeah, no, totally. It doesn't make sense that a group that travels like throughout Europe and probably throughout like the Mediterranean and parts of Africa fighting would have no knowledge of like, and has people from all those areas represented, would have no knowledge of uh, basic first aid. You get me? Like, that's honestly, that's kind of where I'm going with that. And the same with Connor and the druids and stuff. Like, not like, totally get not being, high level medical professional type peeps, but to have that sort of like base awareness when it's materials and plants and things that you've seen your entire life and have probably seen people use for your entire life, but you don't have that knowledge of what it is and how to work with it in any capacity. And that said, like, I know people in modern druidic um, groups that are actively practicing that can't recognize a dandelion. So, like, I know that that annoyance might be a bit misplaced. Like, I get that, but also we did get into modern Western, Eastern, Asian medicine until the late. But okay. No. But yeah. So there's that. Yeah. Anyway. Um. I'm slightly distracted. by getting this thing to work. Okay. So, yeah. Great discussions and all that. Come on. Fabulous. Okay. Comparatively recently. Yeah. Tank and much honeycomb. Anywho, I digress. Sorry to make you go silent for a moment. No. You're good. I was having to contemplate for a second. Well, trying to put this together on the back there, and just kind of zoned for a little. So yeah, we're good. We're good. But yeah. All right. Very good discuss though. I appreciate it. All right. So, getting back into the plot for a minute. We've got Sirica making Hugh promise to go back to Harrowfield to figure out why the son of one of his best friends hates him so much. And essentially, like, as a dying wish, Sirica, like, essentially makes him promise to go back to Harrowfield to figure out what happened and all that. And oh yeah, this freaking thing. So Sean stopped off to get Aemon and his sister because reasons and stuff, and the both of them wanted to like say their goodbyes before Sirica died. So we've got there we go. So we've got Aemon hanging out there after Leyden told him, like, hey, I'm having a kid. Kid's not yours. So obviously, we can't get married. Expecting that to be the end of it. Like, you would expect to have it be the end of it. And alright, have a good look, Fonzie. And what was it? Then Aemon, like, oh yeah, this freaking thing. Why are we not surprised? Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, huh? Uh-huh. Yeah, exactly. So, this dude gets all up and whatever, and oh yeah, so your mom's dying and stuff now, right? So, like, this is the perfect time for me to get all high and mighty at you for no apparent reason and stuff. Like, you need someone, to take care of you, and well, you have a kid, but hmm, what was it? A boy does not choose his father, which in certain respects could be a positive. Like, you don't have to be defined by the mistakes that your parents made. You can choose your own path. You don't have to rely on the negative associations of your birth or something. But like when Eamon says it, it's like, well, I don't like that he exists, but a boy can't choose his father. We might be able to do something with that. Which, sir. What? Excuse you, what? Are you doing? The person that you have purported to have feelings for the duration of your stay in this novel has said, hey, you're cool and we're friends, but like, I'm not into you like that. And even if it was, you'd be looked down on because, like, I have a kid now and it's not yours. Alright, cool. You want to take that and be like, if it was, cultural practice of the time says that we can't be together because I have a kid who's not yours, but I still want to be with you, and the other character was like, hey, no, that's cool. Like, I don't care what people say. Alright, cool. We're good. But this dude has been told repeatedly, like, hey, we're friends and all, so that's great, but I'm not really into you, so yeah. And has the absolute audacity to come in here. And what was the line? What is the line? You think me weak that I would give up so easily. Like, no. Weak is not the word that I would use. Obsessive, like weirdly possessive, that's more apt to the behavior that you're exhibiting at the moment, sir. What are you doing? Um, and then dude's like, oh, what was it? I've waited a long time for you. I want your answer, Leiden. Like, hey, she just said no. Now, I realized that at the time, a lot of instances of, like, women who uh, were unmarried, especially if there was a kid involved, like, there was a lot of discussion about like marrying the person off, and in order to provide the women with like stability and stuff. But that's because the other menfolk in her life weren't supporting her. And her dad, her uncles, her brother, everyone has already said multiple times, you can stay here as long as you need to. Stay here as long as you want to. I will support you. Like, you're safe here. So that's not necessary. That was established like 2 chapters ago that it's not necessary. And Aemon's up here like, oh well, but obviously the weak female of the species needs the strong masculine presence. And she's over here like, I mean, I wouldn't be averse to a dude hanging out and being around and stuff, but like, not you though. Cause like, we're friends, but I'm not into you like that. So, no. Like, I have my dad's permission to not have to marry you, so I'm not gonna do that. This is what I said before you left to, like, the Great Meeting of Clans or whatever it's called in Tara. Like, I can't marry you, so that you would go find someone else. Dude. Like, yeah, she's giving you her answer like 3 times. Seriously. Like, Aemon, buddy, what are you doing? And then, oh, what was it? And then this, like, a dude who, I know it was, like, an accepted thing at that point of, this is a way that people act sometimes, haha, so quirky. But, like, dude's given some pretty strong, like, weird incel vibes with the, oh, what is it? Getting a little salty that Leiden is disgusted with him and doesn't want to kiss him when he forces her to kiss him. And throws out the, I'm probably the best offer you're gonna get line. Which, that's not manipulative at all. Not a bit. Yeah, Amen. You deserve each other. Exactly. You're both, like, weirdly angry all the time. Just essentially want to stab people all the time. Just like, just like go be gay somewhere and leave everyone else alone. How about that? uh, honestly. Honestly, though. And then the last line of 11 is, I knew that in every dark night there was somewhere a small light burning that could never be quenched. Which, like, I know is a reference to the candle that she keeps burning for Bran. But, like, after the BS episode thing with, like, Aemon, it's kind of a poetic image, really. Okay, it's 5:30. Thank you much. Good to know. We'll do a bit of a speed run on 12, and if there's anything that doesn't get covered, we'll pop back into it for next week. How about that? Okay, so sounds good? Yeah. Alright. So, Leiden, I think it was Leiden. Someone brings in Basil and Marjoram, to, what was it? It has the ability to give heart in times of sorrow into the room that Serica is laying. And her final request is the story that Hugh told her of Toby and the mermaid back in book 1, where Toby loved the mermaid, and because she was sad and everything, she ended up going back to the sea, and like, he would sit on the headland and play his flute. Which, from what I remember in the first book, the story was that he married the mermaid, and they had a couple of daughters, and after a few years, she got really sad for not being able to go back to, or no, was her mermaid? Yeah. And she was really sad for not being able to go back to the sea, and eventually, like, she and the girls went back to the sea, and then Toby would spend his time sitting on the headland playing the flute for them. And in the recounting version, for that, it's the mermaid going back to the sea, and the daughters staying on land, and the descendants of the area being, like, or the people in the area being their descendants. So, I don't know on that one. But yeah. We've got the funeral itself that is, it's a water send off, essentially. And everyone's confused as to why she wants to, like, be in a boat, not, like, buried in the forest yeah, or with the rest of the family or what have you. But she wants to go on a final adventure in the boat, like she did that first time long ago, where she ended up, like, running into Red and all of that. The Circa Mermaid connections remain strong. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And for this particular one, like, Red followed her home. Like, he sent his mermaid love back to the water, but was able to follow her home. And until it's his time to go, he can't follow her this time. Okay. Okay. So we've got the funeral, and someone shows up with bagpipes who Lydon doesn't recognize. But one of their friends has a raven perched on his shoulder. And the raven is just kind of hanging out, doing bird things. And turns out that the dude with the raven is Kieran. And that's when Lydon finds out that Kieran is, like, the youngest kid of the previous generation, so her uncle. And also that that Neve is with Kieran, and, like, in every sense of the word. And so we get the whole thing with that. And Kieran left in order to go find his past. So, i.e., his mom, who is known in the story universe to have manipulated, like, lots of people into doing her bidding. And from what I remember of following events, that's kind of, like, it seems like he learned some of that from her. Perhaps. Just because the only glimpse of Neve that we've got at this point is Lydon's vision in the water. And as much as Kieran says that he loves Neve, there's a certain element of, like, it's not even, like, within an age gap thing, it's just, like, abuse of power, just because, from the sounds of it, he has, like, mind. If it's not mind manipulation, then it's some kind of mind ability, from the sounds of it. And going from that, Neve was in a real dark place, and it doesn't seem to have any kind of negative reaction to, like, hey, the reason that we couldn't be together is because we're related. And, like, I know that historically that's been a thing. Like, in order to keep power in the family, it's literally keeping power in the family. But the characters, like, the in-story characters, are real weirded out by that as a concept. So that's not just, like, a thing that happens, right? That's not just, like, an accepted component of the reality that they're in. And Leiden gives Kieran the cord with the white stone, and apparently Neve was, like, looking for it and sad that it disappeared and all that. But yeah, so there's that. I don't remember reading that his abuse of power situation before, probably because Neve is in such a bad place. It seemed necessary. Wonder how we will see it this time. Yeah, it's, from what I remember, like, in retrospect, it kind of seemed like that, but that's kind of the only instance that I was picking up on. And this time, like, there's other potential issues and stuff. So yeah, and I do realize that there's certain times that if someone is in such a bad state, sometimes the person might need someone else to come in and be like, okay, you need to do X, Y, and Z, just as a protective measure. So I don't know. And again, so much of this could have been avoided, or at least, like, mitigated in some way, if the characters were just like, hey, so, this dude over here, come meet your uncle. And even if Connor didn't feel the need to, like, tell Kieran in the entire 18 years that he was raising him that, like, they were family, at that point it's like, hey, Kieran, yeah, so, you know how, like, we've always been close? Yeah, I'm your uncle. No, well, it's like, I'm your brother. Yay, welcome to the family. By the way, this person over here is your niece, and this person over here is your other niece, and this is your nephew, and oh look, it's our sister. Whee! don't end up in a novel. Communicate. Exactly. Like, there's a difference between, oh yeah, this is great, I'll put it in my novel, and be careful, you'll end up in my novel. Like, there's vibe change there, you know? Yeah. So there's that. Okay. Um. Okay. And then like, Leiden's asking Kieran if he went to see Una, his mom, and dude comes back with like, you can't escape the blood in your veins. Like, dude, the entire point of most of what's in here is that like the first one, it was all about destiny. The second one, it's all about Leiden being like, I mean, you want me to do a thing, but like, that seems kind of lame, and I don't want to, so. Suck it. Goodbye. I'm gonna stay here because, like, in my logical brain, that seems like a good idea and you want me to, so you're not going to get as mad at me right now. But past that, we'll see. and there's all these instances of, you know, someone kind of making their own path or what have you, or trying to at least, and Kira's just like, no, but my mom was like that, so I have to do the same thing.
We're doing sprout burgers for dinner. You gonna have a burger before you leave?
Second book, Destiny Schmestiny. Exactly. Like, I mean, I know that you're, like, powerful beings and all that live in the forest, but, like, let's not. uh, seriously, though. Come on, man. And there's... yeah, no, we will. There's not too much left on here, and then we'll go do the thing. So Kieran wants to show his brothers like what he can do and stuff, which, you know, okay, cool, whatever. Um, but in doing that is just like, in order to show my brothers what I can do, I have to go to my mom, who's like actually actively insane and trying to kill off everything that I've been taught to like respect and hold dear for my entire existence. Um, and yeah. Uh, it's one of those that I want to see Kieran like being decent human and all that. But like, dude seems stuck on the but my mom said so I can't come out and play like that. Sort of train. And I don't know. Don't know on that one. So like from the looks of it, at least, Kieran has his issues and stuff, but is relatively dedicated to the people who have actually earned his trust. To a degree. Right? He leaves a raven as a messenger with Leiden, um, to only be used in like emergency situations. That's perfect. And sorry, Mom said I have to be evil. So exactly. Like Kieran's giving big. I can't come to the park because Mom said that I have to do like the sacrifices and stuff today. So like, oh no, kind of energy. Like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? What even is your existence at this point? Come on. Uh, and um, Connor has the audacity to be like, "Oh no, it's so sad. Like I thought of him as a son. Did you though? Did you? Cause like you have an interesting way of showing it, dude. I don't know. Just saying." Um, wait, what did I write? Instead of knowing he had a janky family line, Kieran thought no one wanted him, and he fled when it seemed like he was ostracized. So there's that. And then Connor heads back to the Druids in autumn when Johnny can sit up by himself and can sort of move around a bit. And that's where we end 12. And where 13 is set to start up. So, yeah, that's where we are at the moment. Any final thoughts before we log off for right now or not. I'm gonna try to finish the book for next time or just do 2 chapters. It it'd probably work best if we do it as a 2-chapter thing. I'll see what we've got and stuff. But yeah. One sec. Okay, 2 chapters it is. Yeah, just because there's some other stuff that I need to jump on to. But yeah. Alright. Cool. So, with that, we're gonna end stream in a second here. Oh. It's Fat Thulu. Complete with a little heart and everything. But yeah. There we go. So, there's that. Oh yeah, the leaf bat. Yeah. So, that's it for right now. Yeah. Have a super fabulous rest of your day. And a good weekend. If I don't talk to you the next couple of days, you can pop over on the YouTubes and stuff, and things are getting posted. There should be something new by Saturday, aside from back streams and stuff. And by it's either Sunday or Monday, all the streams that I have saved, that I have access to, will be up. So there's that. At which point, from now on, I'm just gonna upload them on the Friday or Saturday after things have aired here. So, that being said, have a fabulous time of it. I will see you all later. Hugs for everybody. Bye. Just a good discuss. Thanks to Fonzie. Have a good night. Yeah, it was a good discuss. Alright. Have a good one, everybody. Bye. Alright. Where's the thing? There's the thing.